And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being, God damn it! My life has value!
Get together, have a few laughs.
Theo and Teepee here with another installment of Iowa Talk Guys.
What's up, everyone?
I'm Theo.
I'm Teepee, and we are your hosts. Thank you for listening.
Teepee, I think you're going to get us started here.
Yes, I am. So I wanted to address the little bit about the Roe versus Wade. So if you've listened to our previous episodes, you already know that we understand that this is not about getting rid of abortion, outlawing abortion. It's about giving power to the states to have that, power to do that.
Right. It's safe to say that one of the most popular arguments is that this is outlawing abortion.
Yes,
and
that's
just
what
outright.
say.
That's just outright false.
That's a lie. Yeah, it's
not true.
100% a lie. And another really silly argument that I've heard and seen on social media is people believe that if they live in a state that outlaws abortion and they go across state lines and get an abortion in another state where it is legal, then they believe that when they return home, they're going to be prosecuted for murder, which is completely and utterly stupid as well.
Just think about like going to Colorado and smoking a bunch of reefer.
Right.
You're not going to get arrested.
Going back to Nebraska
when you get back home.
Or Iowa. Right.
Yeah.
They're not even going to know you did it.
Because it's illegal, yeah.
I mean, first of all, there's HIPAA laws that still apply, right? It's a medical procedure. There's a doctor that's, technically a medical institute where these abortions happen, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So why would they ever let your state or anybody else outside of who you and your health team of professionals that you deem take care of you, right?
Right.
No one else is going to know about it. And it'd also be no different than, say, you live in a state that doesn't allow gambling and you take a trip down to Las Vegas and win a bunch of money at a casino. Do you really think as soon as you get back across your state line they're going to confiscate that money and arrest you for gambling? No, you committed a legal act in a state where it was legal.
A state where it's legal.
There's nothing anybody can do
at your courthouse for something that is illegal where you live, but you didn't do it. Yeah, I mean,
right.
It's
absolutely
ridiculous.
Just completely ridiculous argument. But
what it's about is that the federal government never had, like, Roe was legally weak to begin with, is what I believe a lot of the writings said by the Supreme Court, and that really it never should have been that way. It was loose. It was
right.
Shouldn't have been,
and it shouldn't have been.
Not a function of the federal government to tell every state what they can and can't do like that.
Absolutely.
That's my biggest thing.
I agree. Once you start allowing the federal government to make medical procedures or force you to have medical procedures, like some type of injection or something, you're essentially giving your body up as property to the state at that point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and nobody here wants that, to the government. Why would you want your body to belong to the government? I did it once like an idiot. But, praise the good Lord, I came out on the other side without any side effects that I know of. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so those are all silly arguments about Roe versus Wade that people believe. And here's
but
another.
You can't even really argue with people about that because they just freak out.
My choice! You have to take your hands off my vagina right now!
And it's just outrageous. But here's something that just came out today on The date is July 10th, 2022. U.S. President Joe Biden on Sunday said he has asked his administration to consider whether he has authority to declare an abortion-related public health emergency after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. What an utter waste of time, money, and brain power. I mean, just air.
Yeah, I heard about that late last week on AM radio, and it's some of the weakest garbage I think that I have ever heard of. But then again, would you expect any less from, either of these political parties, and especially the Democrats at this point, and then especially the crazy, absolute psychopaths, at best sociopaths, that are occupying the White House right now?
Yeah. Well, and let's remember, this only happened a few years ago. What happened the last time a national health emergency was declared? How well that turned out for everybody, which we're still seeing the effects of now.
Crimes were committed that will never be prosecuted.
Well, when you heard about it last week, was that was on his bike ride, right? When he ate it?
Who?
The president. Remember he fell off his bike?
Oh, that was a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because on his bike ride in Delaware, they said that's when he was talking to reporters, and he had maybe considered declaring it a public health emergency, which is just absolutely stupid. Is there that many women that need abortions that it has to be a public health emergency? Dumb.
I tell you what I see happening right now is that these bureaucracies are constantly trying to justify their existence and embolden their authority and their power, bolster that. And so you saw it with the CDC's eviction moratorium. Tons of people, I knew people that weren't collecting rent on properties that they owned.
Yep.
Couldn't do anything about it. Why? Well, the CDC just said they can't.
Which they have no authority.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the bureaucracies, departments in the executive branch don't have the authority to just legislate something and enforce it on everything, everywhere in the United States of America.
Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
But that's what this is all about. That's what they're going for.
Control.
Control.
Yeah.
So, they want to...
So, speaking about control and more utterly just silly things that this current administration is doing that makes zero sense. So, remember when he said when President Biden said that he was trying to... he was going to try to curb the prices of gas and everything.
Yeah, of course.
So he's sending millions of barrels of oil, selling it out of our strategic petroleum reserve, and being exported to Europe and Asia.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And
we don't need it here.
It actually contradicts his own statements about trying to bring down the cost of soaring gas prices, but that doesn't really help. It's I don't see these fuel prices, and they keep blaming it, saying that this is Putin's fault.
This is Putin's fault because
Ukraine.
he invaded Ukraine.
Yeah,
that makes utterly no sense whatsoever.
Somehow a border war, thousands and thousands of miles away, not anywhere near our country, has affected our gas prices this much.
Yeah,
how utterly ridiculous.
Maybe the Nazis are going for Stalingrad again.
Is that what's happening?
Maybe they're trying to catch the oil there. No, I don't think so.
Well, this says Phillips. This is an article from the Washington Times. Phillips 66, one of the country's largest oil refineries, has shipped roughly 470,000 barrels from a reserve storage site in Texas to Italy, according to Reuters. It says in total, Mr. Biden, I like how the Washington Times doesn't call him President Biden, just call him Mr. Biden.
Nice.
Plans to release up to 260 million barrels of oil from domestic reserves from October 2021 through October 2022. But get this, there were roughly 618 million barrels at the end of September 2021. The reserve is expected to be depleted to less than 400 million barrels, the lowest since 1984. Which is weird. 1984. That's an odd. What a coincidence. And that number came up right there. How is this going to help the country at all? Theo, do you know? Is this going to help? Do you think gas prices come down?
Well, I suppose that at this point in time, it is actually logical and it is actually reasonable to entertain the idea that there are a lot of characters in Washington, D.C. that are actually trying to destroy the United States. And those people, and they're working for even more powerful interests that are in finance and whatnot. They want to, let's just say there's a plan. We'll fill you in maybe at the end of this episode about that something there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. Well, like we were talking about earlier, they have the means to end this.
Yes, absolutely.
But they're not
choosing not to.
They're choosing not to.
I mean,
one of blaming other people, and then people believe it. I don't get that.
I don't understand.
Really don't.
I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of people out there running around like abused wives. He only hits me because he loves me.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, how many times do people have to be blatantly lied to?
Yeah, well, the name for that is Stockholm Syndrome, correct?
Right, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate. It's pretty sad. And more than sad, I guess I hate to admit, it's pretty frightening.
Yeah.
It's pretty frightening.
And it's scary, especially because a lot of these people out here are really angry, and they're directing their anger totally towards the wrong thing.
Yeah, I would encourage people to not quote me here and go look this up, but there was, I can't remember, it was either earlier this year or late last year, there was a poll that was done, and it was Democrats polled, okay?
Okay.
And we're talking numbers in excess of like 48%, nothing less than like 48%, okay? I think. Of like, do you think that people who are unvaccinated should be
I recall this.
And yada, yada, yada. And it's like literally nothing less than like 48% of Democrats.
Which is
like, okay, virtually half. So
is
1
scary.
in 2 of your neighbor people
think that you should be locked up in a camp.
If you chose not to take the vaccine.
Yeah. My body, my choice.
Oh, wait.
But that kind of went away until just recently coming back now with the Roe versus Wade overturning.
I think some people ought to check their privilege because they get to use my body, my choice when it's convenient for them. But then when other people use my body, my choice and it's inconvenient for them, they cry something else.
Which is very odd.
Yeah.
That's, I think it was Malcolm X that said a man that stands for nothing will fall for anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good quote.
Yeah, so if you're willing to flip-flop on that issue when it suits you, but when it doesn't suit you, you are going against the grain, that means you really don't...
Sucker.
What do you stand for then, right?
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
Well, get on any of the major social media deals. Right now, you can look at footage from the island nation of Sri Lanka, which is in the Indian Ocean, south of India. I believe that India is sending massive amounts of food, relief, medical relief. They're experiencing a financial collapse. I believe the president was just forced to resign because mob made it.
Mob rule?
Into his place, sort of.
Found out he was human?
I saw footage of people getting beat in the streets, and it was.
I remember you saying that was
and it was alleged that they were. It was because they were rich people, pretty much. So
it's kind of scary.
It's disturbing.
It is disturbing. It starts off with a whisper, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I saw it from, that Dave Rubin guy. Dave Rubin, the Rubin Report.
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
He has a lot of interesting stuff to watch, and I believe it was a tweet from him, and he said something to the effect of coming to L.A. or something like that.
Hey, you know what? he might not be wrong. So Germany, going along with that, Germany, right? They've been being told. We spoke about that on an episode prior. They've been being told for years to expect some type of food crisis, food shortage, energy crisis type deal. And they were just warned again by their own government that they need to start preparing themselves once more. And it says here, Germans fearing energy poverty go back to wood-burning stoves. So it says a poll revealed that 75% of respondents see recent price hikes as heavy as a heavy burden, while 50% said they feel economic conditions are worsening. So people are going out in Germany; they're getting back to the good old country way of living. What do they call it? The motherland, just the old country.
Theirs was the fatherland.
The fatherland, yeah, that's
what the Third Reich called it.
Well,
I don't know if that's
hopefully they ain't not
still
getting
a thing.
back to that.
I don't know. Modern German military uniforms actually look kind of similar to the old ones.
So they're experiencing the gas prices and stuff as well, and all that fun jazz, right?
Well, yeah, I believe that a lot of that is actually self-inflicted with the reaction to the whole Russia-Ukraine debacle.
And some stuff that I'm sure Merkel, who was part of the young global leaders of the World Economic Forum group, she didn't have much, she had stuff going in place.
Yeah, Vladimir Putin as well.
Yes, and Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. We talked, was that the last episode we talked about that in?
I think a little bit we touched on that, yeah.
A few ago.
But it, in lieu of this impending crisis, energy crisis, in Germany, wood-burning stoves and kiln-dried firewood sell out across the entire country. That is unbelievable, dude.
You ever had a wood-burning stove?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Like when you were a kid and stuff?
My father-in-law's got one still.
Man,
they're nice.
That's the best heat there is.
Oh, yeah, dude.
When it's up here in Iowa, we're fortunate enough to have enough listeners from other places. Up here in Iowa, man, it gets cold.
It sure does.
And then it gets colder in other places, And
further north.
Negative 40 wind chill here in Iowa. It gets colder or that cold a lot more often other places. Man, that wood-burning stove, it's going
to be money. Because here's another thing I kind of fear. Remember a few years ago when we had the propane shortage?
Yeah.
So everybody out on propane, I know I paid a lot of money to heat my house one winter.
So
I mean it was bad.
The first winter that I lived in my house that I'm in now, out in the sticks in Iowa.
Yeah, buddy.
We left town, and of course, most houses in Iowa are on LP that are out in the middle of nowhere, right?
Correct.
You got your own LP tank and
your own well and everything.
Yeah, you got your own well and everything. It's great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't get that budget billing straight, in the summer months when the LP prices are low,
yes, sir,
you can bite yourself in the butt. And I've heard of a lot of old timers saying, yeah, but I've had a lot of years where it bit me in the butt doing the billing. Yeah, back in the day, things fluctuated quite a bit. But
back in the 80s and 90s.
Right. But nowadays,
prices are going to keep going up.
Resources like natural gas and stuff, with the way our government's been spending money, that's going to cost you something.
Yes.
So we didn't get the budget billing, like I said, and I can't remember the exact price of what LP went up to, but one February, we had a $1,500 bill.
For how many gallons?
I can't remember, man.
200 probably.
Yeah, this is quite a bit.
Yeah, I paid that one winter. It was when that propane shortage happened. I got stuck. Yeah, I paid $2,200 for 200 gallons.
It's real, man. What do? You got a bill there. Hey, that's how you heat your home. Boom. What do? Not pay them?
Right, yeah, then your family frees it out.
Yeah, they came and they filled your LP.
Fortunately, my stepdad, he was on that budget billing, and boy, was he happy. And the propane company was not, because he also was running his hog barns on that. Yeah, he had four hog barns that held 1,000 head each. And that takes a lot of LP to keep that hot in the winter, because it has to stay consistent, like 86 degrees.
How many hogs is that?
4,000 at least.
I'm just being a jackass.
Minus the ones that pass away.
So yeah, he got quite a bit of cheap propane from them, huh?
he was really happy about it.
I bet
they were not. They were not. But, that's right now, too. I mean, it's almost the middle of July. Hopefully people out there, at least at this time when we're recording it, I don't know what time you're listening to it, but if you have a chance, if you're in a position that you can have a raised bed garden in your backyard, I don't care if you have 5 foot by 5 foot backyard, get a 2 foot by 2 foot garden, man.
Yep, that's what we're going to get into next here, man. It's in fact myself, I have some raised garden beds. I have 3 by 6 by 1 foot high raised garden beds. And the soil drains great. When you don't get enough rain, you can go and water them. It's even better. I don't. Like I said, I'm on a well. I'm fortunate enough to be on a well, which is driven by electricity. Something to think about.
Yep.
But
might have to build us a windmill.
Yeah, you can also set up rain. You can collect
rain
rainwater.
collection.
There are systems.
Those 55-gallon jugs.
We are not endorsed by any products, but there's plenty of rainwater systems that you can go out there and get for yourself and water your garden. And then there's water filtration. You can here. Let's start in one place, and then let's go through chronological order here, sort of.
Okay, you got a list
of what we got.
Okay,
what we got going on here. So, a lot of people know this stuff, but it's actually surprising to learn sometimes that a lot of people don't garden and they don't do anything. I'm not the best at it. I don't keep everything. I don't preserve as much as I should.
Yeah, I need to get better with doing that. We did it a lot, but
a garden is a great thing to do in raised bed. I recommend getting like cedar because it's untreated. Personally, for your raised beds, it's untreated, and cedar is naturally rot resistant.
Oh,
so you don't have chemicals leaching into your substrate
root system, and that's a good call.
And it's naturally rot resistant. For instance, I've had the same. They're actually like fence posts. You know those fence posts that are 6 feet tall.
Yes,
and they're they're 6 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
And they just are cut like a dog ear at the top.
Yeah.
I got those 8 years ago, and I've had soil in them. There's been ants and worms and yada, yada, yada.
Weather.
And they're still, weather. Freaking covered in snow. Guys, folks, if you are not from Iowa, in the middle of winter here, out where I live, out in the middle of cornfields, I guess this is a little bit of a pun, too. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it's cold and it blows.
Yep. The wind,
it blows.
Them cornfields when they're just flat plains.
Yeah,
and that wind has nothing to stop it.
And pretty much during the wintertime, we're getting it from the northwest. We're getting it from the Arctic.
Yep, and just shooting down.
So think about it this way as well. It's like, okay, it's an ambient 10 degrees outside. That's what it says it is. But for let's just say roughly every mile per hour that the wind is blowing, you're talking a -1 degree wind chill
at
for
least.
Each one of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have a 20 or a 25 mile an hour wind, which from November to freaking April in Iowa,
especially if you live on the sticks,
most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yep.
It's
windy. They don't call it the Great Plains for no reason.
So literally,
that's why they wanted all these windmills up here.
These cedar beds have been buried in snowbanks.
Nice.
Frozen over, and they are just sturdy. They are. So I recommend that. And then soil drainage. Soil drainage in them is great. Really good vegetables to plant. Beans. If you're in the north, particularly if you're in the north, because they can handle cooler weather. They like it cool. So
what kind of beans?
Your regular green beans, like the big long ones. You can open them up and get individual beans out of them. You can pick them early and eat them whole.
They're
freeze
so
them.
good.
You can freeze dry them. You can
You can them.
Can them.
Yep.
Pickle them. Anything pickled.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Anything
pickled green beans
freaking
are good.
dilly beans.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, pickled asparagus, too.
Yes, absolutely. I can't believe how many people, I'm going to test you, I don't know that we've ever talked about this,
Okay.
don't like pickled spicy hard-boiled eggs.
Oh, I love pickled eggs,
I freaking
dude.
love them, man.
Oh,
That's awesome.
So, funny story. My buddy had a wedding up in Michigan, and they had this giant jar of pickled eggs.
Like at the bar or something?
At the bar.
There you go.
As a joke. And I was like, oh, you guys messed up. Oh, I made so much. Dude, that bar was stinking so bad because I probably ate like 7 or 8 of those eggs out of there.
People putting you up to it or what?
No, I just wanted them because I like them, dude.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They are awesome.
Yeah, I would go get a beer and have an egg, and each time people would get so mad at me because it would just stink up the whole thing. I'm like, I didn't put the jar here.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
They're not here just to look at people.
But you can have them for a long time, too.
Oh, yeah, and they taste amazing. I love them.
Pickled asparagus.
Jalapeno pickled eggs are good, too.
I mean, yeah. Pickled jalapenos.
Mm-hmm.
You can pickle carrots.
Ooh, candied pickled jalapenos. Dude, there's so much people you can do. Go get a book.
Okay.
Go get a book.
So, yes, I was going to say, go get a book and
there's
listen,
so many.
There's, without being, endorsed and yada, 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 there are books on how pioneers planted plants and planted particularly like root vegetables and stuff like that, and harvested them in like February. If you're way up here, like north where we're at, like ways that you can get stuff in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And it's going to be valuable because you see all this crazy stuff like food processing plants just going up in flames and whatnot of late.
Well, and
not getting talked about.
Let's say if you can't even do a garden, right? Here's something I would suggest also. Go get a big pot. You can buy those big pots, potting pots, right, at Walmart or whatever, Home Depot, and get yourself a couple of them. You can do tomato plants. If you do,
absolutely,
get a couple of big tomato plants and the tomato cages in them, you can get a ton of tomatoes off that. Learn how to can. Stewed tomatoes can last a long time, and they go with anything. And it really, I mean, also tomato soup, you can make tomato juice puree and stuff out of it. Like, there's so much stuff you can do with canning just tomatoes, and vine-ripened tomatoes are so healthy for you.
Plus, I was going to say, the nutrients in tomatoes are amazing. It's
that's
like
what I'm saying.
Sunshine in a freaking fruit. Man.
Right, yeah, it's full of vitamins.
And let me tell you, if you have not made your own tomato sauce,
you're missing out.
It is
fantastic.
Just the best. It's like I don't want to say that it could ever compete with some of the like traditional Italian stuff that you might get into, because I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah.
We're for the most part up here in Iowa, we're from a lot further north, and the ancestry's from a lot further north in Europe than Italy even, really, right?
Yeah.
Germany.
We got a lot of German and
Ireland.
Irish here. Yep.
Even Scandinavian you'll get into, whatnot and stuff. But I bet that with our own tomatoes around here, we can make a pretty good tomato sauce.
Oh, I bet you could. So my wife does make a really good spaghetti sauce with some stewed tomatoes, homemade stewed tomatoes, and it's fantastic. She cuts up the garlic and everything, and it's great.
Yummy.
So so if you can't get a garden, at least do that. I mean, this is going to benefit you and your family.
Well, something else that you can actually do is, even in an urban center, or place, is take something as small as a closet or something.
Oh yeah,
something the size of where you can fit like a tent or something. You can set up a hydroponic system. Correct. Yeah, there's so many YouTube videos. And something that's really cool that I have not done yet, but I've heard about, and I've talked to a local guy around where we're from, that he kind of got started in hydroponics, was microgreens.
Oh, really?
And you can actually have a seed to a mature microgreen in literally like 7 days. So something the size of a hardware store shelving or racking system.
Okay.
That might go to your ceiling.
Yeah.
You can set up lights, and you can set up plants in either a hydroponic setup, or you could just do it with soil.
Right.
And some water.
You could do that too.
And you could have one for every day of the week. And once again, I've never grown microgreens. I can't even recall if I've ever eaten them. But from what I hear, what I understand, They are incredibly flavorful, and they are packed with an incredible amount of nutrients.
Yeah.
Because they are essentially the entire plant. It's like a microgreen. It's like you can get a broccoli microgreen, and it's like an entire broccoli plant that
just packed full.
It's just packed full inside of a smaller size.
Which is awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so something that I would like to try.
Yeah,
and
I think we should give it a try. I'm sure there's YouTube videos out there about that.
Yeah, there's a ton.
There's gotta be.
Like I said, there's a guy from around we're from.
I mean, we can get him on the show and talk about it sometime.
Yeah, perhaps that'd be pretty
People,
cool.
you want to hear? Well, if you guys want us to do a show about that, let us know, because we're going to talk to him regardless and learn about it ourselves. So we might as well, if you guys want to hear about it too, let us know.
I actually already have a hydroponics kit.
Really, one of the best ways to let us know about stuff until we get on Apple, I think, is going to be Twitter. Send us stuff on Twitter, or we have an email address set up now.
At Iowa Talk Guys on Twitter.
Yeah, at Iowa Talk Guys on Twitter. We'll have the link in our description, and also I'll have a link in the description for contacting me. It's Teepee, Teepee, at IowaTalkGuys.com. I'll put a link in the description also, so you guys can start communicating with us. And
you've also set me up with Theo, Theo at IowaTalkGuys.com, right?
Correct. Yes.
I'm a little green on that and not fresh with it yet, so I'm gonna have to figure out. Plus, I think
what he's saying is I watch my email box more than him.
Yeah, that, and I believe we're having some compatibility issues as well.
Yeah, we're smoothing some things out. So the website, if you go to the website IowaTalkGuys.com, it's not ready yet. So just stand by on that, folks. Unless you want to help us with the web design, reach out. Anyways, getting back into it.
I'm going to name a few more plants before we move on to a couple other items. Cucumbers are great. They're packed full of nutrients. They're awesome. They take up quite a bit of space, and they take a little bit of a decent amount of attention, because you need to put them where you want them to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they will overtake.
Just a little bit of attention, though. I mean, not much.
If you get it early and take care of it, it's not that bad.
Yeah, and you make pickles.
Yeah. Oh man, pickles.
Who doesn't
awesome.
like pickles?
Yep.
Come on now.
And then raw ones are amazing too, and then even just douse them with a little vinegar too.
Oh yeah.
I love a tomato cucumber salad, and then grown from your own garden. It doesn't get any better than that. And then, in fact, get like a bottle of balsamic vinegar if you can, or any red wine vinegar.
My wife uses. She puts. I think it's either fresh mozz or I think it's fresh mozz in there. Those cubes.
Oh yeah.
She gets that and cuts them up a little bit, so when she makes that cucumber
salad
absolutely. With the fresh mozz,
we'll use like a
vinegar.
feta. We'll use like a feta.
Yeah. We've had it like that before too.
And my lovely wife will do her own. If we're fortunate enough, we have a couple good salad dressings that we purchase from the store.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're fortunate enough that my wife does our own, it's an Italian olive oil and apple cider vinegar based. It's with a ton of oregano and parsley and whatnot. Onion and garlic. It's freaking amazing.
Sounds fantastic.
And then it just, again, if you are listening and you've never planted your own vegetables,
you don't know what you're missing out on.
You
do not know what you're missing out on. Unless if you've ever been down to Mexico and eaten the vegetables down there.
I unfortunately have not, but
there are a lot of them are vine ripened because of the climate down there.
Fresh,
and you can definitely taste the difference. That was one of the first things I noticed when I went. I was like, ooh, dude, I was eating a ton of food down there and losing weight because it was all vine ripened stuff.
It was all like really good fresh.
Yeah. I stayed away from a lot of the beans and stuff, but
I love rice and beans myself. I
am a big fan of red beans and rice.
I love corn and corn tortillas too.
The corn tortillas. Mexico's got some fantastic food.
Yeah, I've only had Mexican food at authentic Mexican places in America, and a few places that are not alleged authentic.
Right.
But I bet in
a lot of the
Mexico's
stuff in America is more Tex-Mex.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
There's
yellow cheese instead of white crumbled cheese.
But there's still some good places out there. You got your ones and twos, they serve nice stuff. So moving forward. Sorry, getting off topic.
Hell of a tangent there. I can't pass up squash and zucchini. They are just
If you're into them, though.
Yeah.
You got to be into it.
If you let a zucchini go long enough, you can have one meal for, like 2 people.
Yeah.
Easy.
And there's zucchini. I prefer zucchini over the squash. And you can do a lot of stuff with both of them, but once again, my lovely wife, our wives are great cooks, by the way.
Yeah.
We didn't. You don't know what we look like, but we didn't get the sizes we are for no reason. Okay. So she does. It's like a Parmesan. She slices the zucchini and then does some type of Parmesan crust thing or whatever, and then fries it. Oh, fried Parmesan zucchini.
All sorts of stuff you can do, folks, with fresh vegetables. It's fun. It's like one of the best feelings in the world. I had beets the other night. I never liked beets when I was a kid. I wasn't a picky eater, but just like beets, like pickled beets out of the can and stuff like that. Brussels sprouts, I didn't like it. But now that I've had fresh beets and Brussels sprouts, woo!
Yeah. I'll tell you what, beets are great also if you're about to do, for all you workout fanatics out there, beet juice. It's clinically proven it'll help you get that better pump when you go to the gym.
There you go.
Or before any athletic venture, whatever you're about to do.
Test, baby. Let's move on a little bit.
Okay.
Let's change it up to, we're still on the same general subject, but we're going to change it up from things that you can do. Now, this is majorly dependent on where you live. Where I live in Iowa, in fact, I think that, look at me here, Teepee, I think that you and I are at opposite ends of this spectrum. And that is that where I'm at in Iowa, out in the county, I can have chickens.
I'm in a township, and we are absolutely allowed to have chickens.
You are allowed in your township?
Yes.
Okay, because some are weird. That town that is like directly north of me?
Yes.
Can't have chickens there.
Which is really silly because it's a farming community.
It's like one of the smallest towns, too.
Yeah, there's 2 bars and a co-op.
Yeah,
and a ballpark.
There's 2 bars now. There were 0 bars for like a while.
There's one.
Yeah, no, it was closed for a while, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like we're talking a small town, like in the
super small,
in the low hundreds of population.
Yeah, great town, but really weird that they have that.
Yeah, but you can't have chickens.
It's silly.
But the thing is from certain chicken suppliers. Well, I think most of them, you can get them sexed, and what that means is that you don't get roosters.
Oh,
you can spend a little extra money, and get just hens, and they will lay eggs for you.
Yeah.
And one of the unfortunate facts of life is that when an old hen stops laying, she
you put her on the smoker.
She's not enjoying life too much anymore anyway.
Right, she's ready to go.
They go really, really good in a stock pot on simmer, submerged in water for over 3 hours.
And you can can that, too. You can have canned chicken.
Hey, city folk. Speaking of canning, you can go to the store and bulk up on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Make like a bulk... like the roasting pans, like a big electric roasting pan or stuff like that.
Yep.
You can make beef stew in that. You can can it.
Yeah.
You can
chili.
Can it.
Any type of soup.
Anything.
Yeah.
You can can it.
Yep.
Go get canning jars, bands, lids.
Learn how to do it.
You have to have bands and lids every time. You have to have new ones every time.
Well, you might be able to get 2 years out of the lids if you're sanitizing them properly. And
sure.
I've had that and they've sealed for a long time, for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't try not to go over 2 seasons.
But yeah, sure, you can. They'll last a long time if you do it right. They'll last actually a long time.
Yeah,
but
you got plenty of resources out there available.
It's easy enough
you.
to have stuff. Particularly, once again, if you're up north and you don't have the sunshine that they do down south. Hey, canning stuff is great if you're not being able to grow.
Yeah, and that's food for your family. I mean, especially with the way things are going now. That's why we're telling you guys all this stuff. Is that we want to add value to your life. We want you to survive.
Yeah, we're not claiming to be the originators of any of this information.
Absolutely
There's plenty
not.
of people saying this, but this is just our version. This is what we're doing. Like I said, early vegetable gardening, harvesting techniques, chickens. You know what? I've had chickens before. I don't have any right now. I'm thinking the next birds that I'm going to do, and I might end up, kind of biting the bullet on this one soon here, is get some ducks.
Oh, really?
Ducks. They lay eggs.
Yeah.
They lay a larger egg.
I've never had duck egg, but
it's freaking amazing.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I've had duck. I prefer chicken.
So, and then of course just your own eggs, and here's the deal.
Which are great for everything, and you can preserve those also.
Yeah.
There's ways in a crock. There's ways to preserve eggs.
In fact, if you don't wash them right away, those things last
a long time,
2 weeks or more in a temperate environment.
And like I said, there's ways. There's our ancestors did all this stuff. They knew all these things. There's ways to preserve food to make it last a long time.
It's only a few generations ago. It's
really,
only a few. It's only a few
literally, your grandparents, our grandparents knew this stuff.
Yeah, well, if you're our age and we're middle aged now.
We're middle aged men.
Yeah, I mean, you youngsters. Hey, our grandparents, they came up through the Great Depression, and if you don't, it could get that bad.
It could. It really could.
Or worse.
Let's not just be naive about this, right? Just because we are technologically advanced and all this and that, and it's 2022. I mean, don't be naive that all this stuff, what's happening, particularly in Russia and Ukraine, what's been happening for a while, and a lot of people paying attention said this is the road leading to World War III, and we're watching it unfold now.
And that will be hell on earth.
And I don't think it's going to be good for anybody.
No. Except people that have bunkers and will come out on top when there's nuclear annihilation. One more thing I wanted to touch on. Is it just one more thing? No, not one more thing. We got a few more things to touch on here, but
real quick.
If you have a little bit of land, okay? If you have, let's say, an acre or more, 2 acres minimum, really, because you want 1 acre per cow, right?
Oh,
to graze.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Right? So, and you don't want just 1 cow, from what I understand, because health-wise, they're social animals.
Okay.
They want at least another one.
Okay.
But you can get your own, milk. You can have a dairy cow, and it's not easy. Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not easy. It's simple in the fact that, hey, they are dairy cows.
Yeah.
And you milk them and you get their milk.
And that's a lot to feed them.
The simple, that's the simple. The not easy is, you have to feed them, which is let them graze if you want to do it the graze style, which I am actually a fan of grass feeding and grazing cattle. Sure, you don't get the meat yields, but man, that's a healthy cow.
If it's just for milk, then you don't really need the meat yield, right?
Yeah, you don't need the meat yield. And even if you do butcher
when she gets older,
that's good meat.
Yeah,
it's smaller meat, and there's less of
especially when you love it too. You put all that love into it.
Yeah, and they live a good life. They live a really good life.
It's not all stressed out.
It's
But if you don't have the room for that, or you don't want to deal with it, goats.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Goat milk is apparently, here's one of the pros, it is a probiotic. And
oh yeah, I've heard that.
Apparently the raw milk is what we get probiotics from. I believe that in a lot of places raw milk has been criminalized for a long time.
Why?
How free is our country when a state dairy board can shut farms down for selling raw milk?
Yeah.
I don't call that freedom.
For not pasteurizing their milk.
That's something that, before we call everything free, deserves at least a conversation.
Right, that's a violation of civil liberties.
Civil liberties, right?
Yep. Anywho.
At least from these average, regular
from my
jackasses' perspectives.
From my nerd glasses. That's how it looks for me. But yeah, goat milk is fantastic.
The problem with goats is they're climbers. Even even domesticated goats.
They will
wild goats, just like wild goats.
They will get into stuff too.
They'll climb on top of your freaking car.
They'll chew up your garbage, your recycling.
They eat everything.
Yeah. So you really have to keep them. You got to keep them contained, but they're easier. I mean, they're smaller, easier to feed.
Technically, not grazers.
technically not, but they will eat.
What are they? Foragers. They
Yeah.
like weeds
Yep.
and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So there are actually places like out in Wyoming and South Dakota where they hire in goats. People maintain herds and bring goat herds through.
Oh,
and
cool.
They just kind of like eat all the noxious weeds and stuff.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I believe there's something. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comment section, wherever the hell that is. But I believe that the goats also poo like the good pollination stuff
For fertilizer?
Back out.
Yeah.
Like, to plant. It replants. Good stuff.
Well, if they're they are. Yeah, goats are awesome.
I've never
goat cheese too.
Yeah, goat cheese is freaking
fantastic.
amazing. That's something with the dairy cattle that is more valuable than the milk. Really, is
It's
the
cheese.
butter and the
Oh,
cream.
yeah.
The butter and the cream is you can do some crazy awesome stuff with that. We have a place around here, just north of here, that does their own cheese.
Oh, it's
And
fantastic.
it's freaking good.
It's
I think
delicious.
it's every bit as good as stuff that they do up in Wisconsin.
Yes, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin brags
obviously.
about cheese, but I think that the people who do local cheese curds around here are just as good.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, it's really the same tradition, right? It's the same sort of people that moved.
And we Germans. We also like to support local businesses as much as we possibly can.
We're fortunate
as you
enough,
should too.
We're fortunate enough to have a somewhat of like an honor system store where we live, where you can go get stuff. And
We're living in that part of America.
yeah, and it's
fantastic.
It's freaking awesome where you can go get the stuff and the meat that you're getting out of the freezer.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's pork and beef is what they're doing. I've seen lamb in there before, and they've got eggs and their own cheese and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But the pork or the beef literally came from a locker about 15, 20 miles away that got animals that came from a farm across the street from where you're buying it.
yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's freaking amazing.
Even their burger.
Yeah, smile into the
They're
camera and don't steal stuff. It's a pretty good rule to follow.
Yes, please don't. Do that. And that's the area that we live in, and we love that, and we would love for everybody to be able to have live in a community like that, because we all look out for each other. Everybody knows everybody, and it's pretty great to live here.
So yeah, fresh local cheese. There's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's way better than the blocks. Don't get me wrong.
Farmers markets.
Who doesn't like a big old block of processed? I mean,
cheese.
Velveeta makes some good mac and cheese.
Yeah,
but just
your
like,
body won't like. Yeah,
just like chemicals and drugs, they're not good for you. People like doing them, but they're not good for you.
Yeah, MSG tastes great too.
Yeah, it does taste great. So we went over backyard poultry, gardening. Gardening's big, folks, and there's plenty of ways to do it. Look into aquaponics. You can raise fish as well. Smaller animals. One thing that you can do if you own your place and are living again up north, we keep getting back to that because that's the perspective that we're thinking from, is when all of that wind chill comes, is bringing the fire into your house, and that is a wood-burning stove.
Yep, we discussed what happened in Germany might be happening here too. So people should get prepared.
Energy prices are going to go up.
Yeah, the winter's coming. Look what happened down in Texas
when it froze.
Mm-hmm. And the debacle that happened and how long it... So, it's not too far-fetched that things can get really bad, and when they go bad, there's not going to be very many people to save you if everybody's having a problem, right?
Let me tell you a story. Do you remember when it was like where we're 3 or 4 years ago where we're living, we had that really, really bad storm in February, and it was like
the hurricane in the middle of the country.
It was pretty much like
derecho. Everybody.
No, snow. It was in February. It was like we got feet of snow.
Oh yeah,
and it was just blowing, howling. Those power lines by your house came down on that road. Do you remember?
Yep. It's pretty wild.
So I didn't have a wood-burning stove in my house, and we lost power.
Oh, really?
If we had a wood-burning stove, we're perfectly fine.
Yeah, you would have been fine.
We would have been perfectly fine. We would have had it. First of all, I'll tell you what, one of the first things they tell you to do if you're in a survival situation, and you can, when it starts to get dark and it starts to get cold outside, build a fire.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons to build a fire is the obvious is heat and light, but it's comfort. It's almost like having a companion.
Yeah.
You have a fire there. You can look at it. Who doesn't like looking at
making
the fire?
noise to you?
Who doesn't get mesmerized by the fire? It's like having a companion.
It's true, too.
It's a very positive psychological effect. So it lights up your house. It heats your house. Stock up on candles. But if, shit goes south, so to speak, like it did down south in Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, you've got, which a lot of people down in Texas, they've got fireplaces and wood-burning stoves.
Yeah,
but
I had a fireplace, so we were fortunate enough when that happened. We had a fireplace and got plenty of wood.
I didn't. Guess what? I was up Schmitz Creek without a paddle.
Schmitz Creek.
I stopped Schmitz Creek with Klaus.
Klaus Schwab.
We was, making some Wiener Schnitzel.
Was he touching his Schwab?
He was. It's Klaus Schwab.
Of course, Klaus was.
He was touching us, Klaus Schwab.
Oh, Klaus.
Klaus Schwab is a turd. We're going to talk about him. If you haven't heard Klaus Schwab, look up that name.
Yes. We're going to do an episode
next
on Klaus
episode.
Schwab. Not next episode. Next episode's going to touch on him, but we're going to get... I actually want to do a deep dive kind of into who is this character of Mr. Klaus Schwab.
Klaus.
Where he came from, and what is he doing.
Well, where he came from.
Let's play a game. It's called Who is Your Daddy and What Does He Do?
He would look really good with an SS uniform on.
I'm sure.
One last interesting little difference between wood-burning stoves that you can get that I wanted to add in here was you can get one to put not only in your house to bring the fire into your house, like I mentioned when we first started talking about this, and it can be a pain in the butt bringing wood in. It's well, and you get crap, comes off, and you got to sweep it up, and it's a little messy. But it's really it's
so worth
the
it.
heat and just the smell. It's just, I don't know, reminds me of my childhood, frankly. Yeah. But you can also have. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I agree. I believe it's so worth it, dude.
Yeah,
it's so.
I love the smell alone. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Little bit of work never kill nobody.
And then you can cook on top of it and whatnot too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's another great thing. Obviously, the difference between a fireplace and a wood-burning stove.
Yeah, is that it's actually a stove.
Yeah.
Put the old cast iron skillet on top of there.
Yep, or some type of pot.
Just whatever pan you
boil
got.
Your
really,
water.
yeah. Boil water. In fact,
Soups.
and then guess what that does? It humidifies your house, and you can warm up a little bit more too.
Yeah, especially when it gets really dry here.
Yeah, in the winter. It's like a freaking desert. Is all it is. Yeah. Like Antarctica.
Yeah. So, to wrap this up, all these things that we discussed tonight, went over today with you, is we're not saying you have to go out and do it. We're not saying you even have to do it. But these are things, like I said, we said before in our show, we want to add value to people's lives. We want you people that are listening to survive whatever's coming our way.
Yeah. I mean, pot some plants and have them in your house. I mean, who knows? To make it your hobby.
Right.
Look, tougher times are coming.
Yes.
It seems evident.
Yes. We know that, and we want you guys to know that too, and we want you guys to be prepared. So wrapping everything up, once again, Roe versus Wade, not about outlawing abortion. Not about outlawing abortion.
Our own government is driving up fuel prices.
Yep. Making terrible, terrible decisions.
Violence around the world. Oh, yeah.
And
something that we didn't mention, we mentioned the violence in Sri Lanka and the president resigning, but former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated.
Yes, with a homemade shotgun.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
According to Japanese authorities.
Very, very odd. Yeah, we didn't even really talk about that, but we'll
we don't need to. It's fact.
We just talked about it. It happened.
He was allegedly a former member of the Japanese Navy that disagreed with some of the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's policies.
Really?
At least that's the story we're getting.
Interesting. An assassin from a country that is known for world-class samurai warrior assassins.
Yeah, I mean, that's some Japanese history.
Yeah.
Is some of the most exciting.
Oh, it's wild. It's brutal
stuff. It's absolutely brutal, and you're also there's.
You got to respect it, dude.
It's just amazing.
And they were no chum in World War II when our Marines fought them by any means, but that's a whole other story. So,
yeah.
Anyways, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hit us up
at Iowa Talk Guys on Twitter for now.
Yes.
I guess Musk backed out on the deal, so I don't know. Who knows how long we'll be on there. The algorithm block us.
We'll see how this goes. We're probably going to start an Instagram and a TikTok in the future, so stay tuned for that. Also, you want to reach out to us and contact us individually. It's Teepee, TEEPEE at IowaTalkGuys.com and Theo, THEO at IowaTalkGuys.com. Let us know. Drop us a line.
We're on, Podbean?
We're on Podbean. We're on Spotify.
Audible.
Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. And hopefully soon, we'll see how it goes. Maybe soon we might be getting on Apple. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for listening, folks. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You guys rock.
Iowa Talk Guys out.
Oh.